Welcome to Adventuring for Knowledge. This is Adventure Call number 1.
Guess what? This is Adventure Call number 2.
And what comes after 2, Manny?
Is it 3?
Yep, you got it. It's Adventure Call number 3.
Last call. Welcome to our podcast.
It's adventure time.
Welcome to our second podcast.
Welcome.
We reflected on our first episode.
We did, and we got a lot of good feedback from our
Yes.
close family and friends, and ourselves. We reviewed and went through a podcast. I thought we did pretty solid, eh, Manny?
I think we did alright.
Yeah, I think we did all right.
But what I think is that we fucking swear a lot.
We do fucking swear a lot, and that was one thing
We're
that
salty sailors.
my girlfriend told me. She's like, "You guys, like, your goal should get that explicit label off you on the Spotify,
Yeah.
so it will attract more viewers, right?" But then it was debate between raw and censored. What do you like better?
That's what I think.
And I honestly I think it's good. I don't know.
I think
but
raw.
I think raw's better.
Yeah.
Raw's better. Honestly, what do you guys think? We would like to hear what you guys think, and your comments are taken into consideration heavily because you are the guys that keep us afloat, keep us going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I think is that the more raw we have it, and for example, I was listening to the first episode and I was like, would a lot of podcasters put this up? And I was like, well, it doesn't matter because I feel like the audience would get a good kick to see our improvement.
Right.
From the first one,
Right.
raw episode, swearing fucking crazy,
And then
listening
through
to my Mexican
our
accent.
first, well, that's not going to change.
That's not gonna change. But I feel like my vocabulary is gonna get better.
Yeah, our
You have a pretty
vocabulary
good
is going to
vocabulary, Brody.
I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not just a
Very
pretty
good.
face, eh?
But yeah, I feel like progressing from episode to episode, it will get better and better, and we would love to see the adventure for knowledge on how to do a podcast.
Yeah. It's a ongoing process.
Yeah.
But we got to trust the process and have fun throughout, right?
Yeah. Well, let's get right to it.
Let's give her.
Let's give her. So, last episode number 1, we talked about
Numero uno.
numero uno. We talked
Si.
about our motivations on behind starting the podcast. And we talked about what does it mean to be a human. And we related to this quote that we have in our website. And Brody's going to read it out.
The quote goes like this: being a human means 3 things: living life with curiosity, accepting ourselves and each other for who we are, and acknowledging that we live in more than a human world. With all these 3 factors combined, we can all find peace together and live life to its fullest potential.
So what do you think about that?
It's an excellent quote.
Yeah?
And I think we can heavily relate and connect it strongly to our theme of our podcast. And it reflects who we are, because
Yeah, I
we're
agree.
pretty aware people, right?
Yeah.
And we acknowledge other people, like we have a lot of empathy.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from what we talked about in the last episode, is just being comfortable with ourselves. And then being comfortable with ourselves, then allowing and wanting to share that with others. And for me, when I go and I try to connect with people, right, I try to bring them out of their comfort zone and make them feel comfortable with being uncomfortable by showing them that I'm comfortable
Oh, I see.
with this weird situation, right? It's like what we talked about when we climbed Mount Finlayson. We wanted to like talk to them. When we say them, we talk to a person that we're having this interaction with, and we don't want it to be superficial. So, hey, how's studies going, man? You good? Yeah, you lift, bro? Like, no, fuck that. Like, I want to like know.
Have a meaningful conversation.
I want a more meaningful conversation than just kind of touching on the surface. I want to connect with their mind, body, and soul. And we did we touched on that and try to connect. We asked, how did that quote connect to those three pillars of our being, of the mind, body, and soul. And on this episode, we're going to continue on talking about it.
Yeah, so in this episode, we're just going to brush up on the mind, body, and soul. We're going to talk about what they are, what they mean, how they relate with each other. And then we'll talk about our whys, what motivates us, give examples of what motivates us, and how we found our why, how we found the path of our soul.
And how it relates to your mind, body,
And how it relates,
soul.
yeah. So let's get to it. What do you think? I wanna hear.
You want to hear my why?
I wanna hear. Oh, yeah.
You want
Why
to hear?
not?
No,
Let's
no,
just-
no.
I wanna hear.
I just
your mind, body,
I
and
just put
soul.
an idea into your head. What were
Yeah.
you gonna say?
I wanted to hear. What do you think about mind, body, and soul? I
Mind, body,
I
and
wanna
soul.
see.
You want to know my definitions
Your
of
definition, yeah.
mind, body, and soul. Okay. So I think the three pillars: mind, body, and soul. So let's start with the mind.
Let's start with the mind.
I think your mind is where you create your habits. And this is where the core of your decision making should come from. You should rely on your gut, which is your
Yeah.
soul. However, you should go over things and be rational in your mind. And it's the thinking process. It's what you do. It's the map.
So your mind is a map to
Your
everything that
mind
you do.
is the map.
Okay.
And how is the map connected to your body?
Yeah.
Well, your mind is the map. Your
Yeah.
mind also gives signals to your body. Your body, is like we touched on, is the vessel.
It's the vessel
So-
to your soul.
It's the vessel to our soul and mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how the relationship, this is my definition, the relationship between your body and your mind is your mind's telling what your body to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's your organizing, your planning, your thinking process, your abilities to be quick. Just like that.
And react to certain situations.
Yeah, to be adaptable. You have to have a malleable mind in order to be successful, because nothing comes easy, as
Nothing
we
comes
know.
out. Oh, okay. So I feel like I know where you're getting at.
Yeah.
You feel.
Please
feel
help me out. Summarize what I'm trying to say, man.
What Brody just said. So what
Manny
I got
gets
from
me.
that is that your mind is your map to all the decisions that you make, and how you adapt to different environments.
Totally.
And what I heard from you was that it is essential that you have a malleable mind.
Mhm.
I've never heard that expression, have a malleable mind. That's a very interesting
And-
way to put it, because you have to have a malleable mind in order to
Mhm.
react and adapt to different situations.
Totally. And another adjective that I want to use: malleable and calloused.
Calloused.
Callous mind. Like, do you know how your hands, from working hard, you build
okay, yeah,
calluses
yeah.
on your
Yeah,
hands, right?
Oh.
I got this term from a guy named David Goggins.
Yeah.
Shout out to David Goggins. This dude is a motherfucking badass.
So he
and
said,
I'm allowed. Yeah, we talked about the explicitity of our podcast, but this dude is a motherfucking badass. He's the only person in the world to ever complete 3 hell weeks in the Navy SEAL training process.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you told
He's
me
like,
about
yeah, this guy, he was like 295 pounds, spraying roaches for a living after going through Naval SEAL training when he was 19, failed because he had this cellular disease,
Yeah.
and he was told that he had to restart the hell week, or restart the training when he was 6 weeks in. He just got through the water process, or the water aspect of the training, and that was the biggest challenge for him mentally, because he was afraid of water.
And what did he say?
He said I'm out.
No, but what did he say with regards to the mind, the calluses on your mind?
Well, this is what. So I'm going to give it a brief kind of talk on him. So he went to Naval SEAL training, failed,
Yeah.
and then went back long story short, completed it after he was 295 pounds, lost all that weight. Now he holds the world record for pull-ups, and he does ultra running. He's a madman. And he talks about callousing your mind. And that term callous is what Manny and I just talked about, is that I'm looking at my calloused hand right now. It's just tough skin.
So it's the tough skin that generates
Yes.
after using your hands so much, lifting weights or working, and then your hand develops that hardness,
Callous.
that callus,
That hard
helps
surface.
you, that helps you achieve whatever you're trying to do.
Well,
It toughens you up.
it limits the pain.
It limits the pain. Exactly.
And so
doing this in your mind, that's
exactly.
what you're
And so your mind can control your emotions and your pain. And they now saying that I think of my dad, Barry. He always tells me, never ride too high, never ride too low. And that's controlled by your mind. So I think our mind, because there's the mind, body, and soul. So I think our mind controls our body, but it also controls our soul, where our emotions come from. And the definition of a soul is like your passion. It's where your why, what we're going to touch on, comes from. It comes from your soul. It comes from like what you really want to do. And and the more transparent you are with your why in your route to success or your route to achieving goals, and you're transparent to people about and showing your why from within and showing your passion and your soul, you're going to be more successful, because people are going to want to help you more because they can relate to your why. Because you can tell them that you're what, be like, I'm trying to be a professional soccer player. Oh, cool, man.
But what's your why?
I'm trying to be a diabetic. I'm trying to be a type 1 diabetic
Soccer player.
I'm trying to show people, especially young people, doesn't matter if you have type 1 diabetes, it's just anybody who's had some sort of obstacle in their way, that you can overpower that with your soul, control it with your mind, and then act with your body to achieve those goals. And
there you go. There you have it.
Yeah.
So why did you listen to this guy?
When?
Or
why?
Who is this guy?
Which one?
The one that you were talking
David
about.
Goggins?
Yeah.
David Goggins is a motherfucking badass.
Where can anyone hear his story?
Oh, you could just type him in on YouTube.
Where does he live?
He's American. I'm not too sure what state he
So
lives
you
in.
listened to him in a podcast?
How did I find him? Yeah, I saw him. The first time I saw him was on Joe Rogan podcast.
Joe Rogan. There
I was
you go.
just watching on YouTube.
So we have the podcast Joe Rogan. We put it in our resources tab. You can go through it and what's his
Totally.
name?
And David Goggins also has his own podcast and his own book, and he's a self-published writer, and he's number 3 bestseller on Amazon.
Well, we'll definitely. It will be in our resources. We'll add him up.
We will. It's a must read for sure.
I liked what you said with regards to developing an adaptable mind,
A malleable and calloused mind.
A malleable and a callous mind. That's very deep. I think that your mind is what controls everything, right? It sends electrical signals through electrons in your body and all the atoms to everything, your muscles and your organs, and it is the first spot where you feel like when you're touching something, your mind knows what you're touching, because all the receptors and sensors
Your sensories.
in your hands and your fingers, when you taste something, your mind automatically knows what it is. But understanding that complexity of your mind in a scientific way is so hard. You really have to get in there and study the subject hardcore. But I think that I like viewing it in a more spiritual way, understanding how your mind works in a more spiritual way. And I apply to this in my everyday life. If I look at my mind in a more spiritual way, I can understand how it thinks, how it reacts, what to do, how it knows what to do. And it is very tricky to think about how. I'm getting distracted because Brody's trying to move the chair
Ever
to
so
not make
quietly,
noise, and he's like very slowly getting
staring
up and
deep
moving
into
it.
his soul.
But I feel like if everyone looks at their mind in a more spiritual way, it can help them in order to achieve whatever they are trying to do. And the way I look at it is, your mind. How do you feed your mind? You know, how do you feed your mind?
With knowledge, dummy.
With knowledge, exactly. Right?
with what?
With knowledge.
With knowledge?
There you go. There's my Mexican side. But with knowledge, you feed your mind with knowledge, right?
Right.
So, scientifically speaking, your mind and your brain gets fed with glucose. But right now we're talking about the spiritual side.
Right.
I feel like your mind gets energy and it gets feed from your soul. So, I'm just gonna touch on this very lightly on what I believe.
Touch away.
So your mind gets this energy, this food, this connection from your soul. So your soul, we talked about it, and it was like, okay, it's a connection. Your soul is your gut. It's what you feel, it's what you think, it's your beliefs and values. And
Your passion.
I want everyone to picture this, if you're listening. Picture a string from your soul. We'll say your soul is in your gut. So touch your gut right now, everyone. All right, you have it. Let's say your soul is in your gut.
Guts.
And we're rubbing our guts right now, Brody and I. And then after
Counterclockwise, Manny, helps with digestion.
All right, there you go. So picture a string coming out of your soul, your gut, and picture it duct taping it to your forehead. Just literally duct taping it to your forehead.
My tape's not sticking.
Now that connection, and I'll touch on that, not sticking. That connection is your connection from your soul to your mind. And your soul knows everything about you. Your soul knows your childhood. It knows what you've been through. Your soul knows all the hard times that you've had with your family, with your sicknesses, with your work, with your school. It knows everything. And your soul has developed ways on how to deal with things through your past experiences. So your soul would automatically output that energy onto your mind and say, hey, do this, do that, based on previous experiences and based on what your deepest wishes are. So if your deepest wishes is to become a soccer player, for example, Brody, your soul knows that. And your soul will keep throwing that energy through the string all the way to duct tape in your forehead, right?
Oh yeah, straight through the string.
The problem is that connection, it's vital to every single human. But the problem is that duct tape in your forehead with the string, it gets disconnected.
Sometimes
it gets disconnected by all the distractions on this world.
And there's a lot of them.
Just picture distractions from people, from social
Substances.
media, judgment, all of those. Picture all of those individuals having strings, right? And they're all around you, all the distractions in the world, and they're ripping away your string from your forehead, and they're connecting their string in your forehead. They are connecting their energy. They're duct taping it to your forehead. And that's the distraction. It's not you. It's not your soul. It's someone else's soul.
So do you think your explanation right there can relate to you're a product of your own environment?
Exactly. And I'll touch on that in a little bit. You're kidding.
Oh, high five, buddy.
Oh, that's the first high five.
Number one of the day.
Yeah, we're connected right now.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that connection, someone else is trying to connect it to you, and they're disconnecting your own string from your forehead, and they're connecting it to you. And that's
because you only got one
that's
input,
other people.
Right?
That's I'm very heavily into not getting distracted by social media. I don't have social media, and I feel like that is a big source of energy. That social media is literally trying to put the string in your forehead and swapping yours away. And I feel like it can be good at some times. They two strings, your soul and social media, can get connected and it can motivate you. But sometimes social media disconnects your string from your soul, and it's only social media.
And I think the people that have the most success on social media with
The people who use it,
who use it,
Who
who are
connect it
able
with
who
their
are
string.
able to be able to go take their string and connect it, and then go when they're done, they just go. They just take it out of the input, right?
That's another high five.
Right,
I
and
like what you said.
I think that comes
Yeah.
from just limiting our time
I
spent
love-
on social media, right?
Yeah, but I love what you said with regards to you have your own soul in your gut, and
Yeah.
people choose to disconnect their string and put it in social media, putting their thoughts out there instead of consuming
For
from
X
social
amount
media.
of time.
Putting their thoughts out there, and then once they're done putting their thoughts out there, they reconnect that string to your forehead.
But that's the thing, man. A lot of people these days have that inability to disconnect from
Yeah.
social media, or even just from their phone,
Oh yeah, I agree.
right? Like, even I'm guilty. If I myself, I wasn't on social media, but I was on YouTube at like 1:00 last
Yeah.
night watching videos, and I'm like,
Why are you doing it?
why am I still up? I asked that question, why?
Is that string connected to your forehead with your soul, or that string is swapped your soul?
No, it
your
wasn't
soul?
connected to my soul. I think I connected my mind to,
Yeah.
because I wasn't trying to send any out of my information out there
No,
to the
you were
world.
just
I was
receiving.
just receiving. I
Yeah.
wasn't. I
You were
wasn't
in receiving
giving. I
mode.
just had my receiving receptors going
And
on.
I listen. That's very interesting that you said that. I listened to a podcast the other day. I completely forgot what it was, but they were saying the first thing that you should do in the morning is create before consume. So a lot of people, when they wake up in the morning, the first thing that they do is they pick up their phone, right? A good habit to do is create before. Write on a journal. Make yourself breakfast. Go for a
Make
run.
your bed.
Make your bed.
That's the
Those
easiest
are the
thing to do.
First, creating things
right?
before consuming.
And
Try
having
to,
that success in the morning is just going to start you up and have that
Exactly.
domino effect for the
You know
day.
what I love
They
doing
give
in the morning?
that assumption, or not assumption, that momentum.
yeah, it
right?
initializes the momentum in your life. Yeah. You know what I like doing in the morning?
What do you like doing in the morning,
I love
Manny?
washing dishes.
This guy's nuts.
I don't know why, but I love washing dishes because you go to the kitchen, and I've obviously washed dishes the night before, but there's so many because Hope is an amazing cook and she just cooks everything. And there's still dishes in there, and I look at them and I was like, oh, okay, here we go. First task of the day. And after cleaning the dishes, and that's the first thing, I don't grab my phone.
And this guy's not lying. I text
don't
Manny.
know.
I'm looking at my text messages right now. 7:01. Morning, Mr. Manny. Good morning, Senor Brody. Just washing dishes.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's so nice because you get it done, and it sets a momentum in your
Yes,
in your day.
because
But
it's
anyway,
the easiest accomplishment, right?
Let's
Let's
bring
go
it
back.
back.
Let's bring it back.
So that connection, we talked about that string from your soul to your forehead, and how distractions try to connect their string to your forehead. I feel like that's a distraction, right? And people need to swap that string. They need
Cut
to
it.
have scissors in their hand and cut all the strings that are trying to connect to your forehead. Just cut them. Just cut them. Just really focus on having your string connected to your forehead. Like, for example, I feel, and I don't know why I feel like this, I feel like my connection is not a string to my forehead. It's a fucking welded fixture.
In other words, Manny's very stubborn. His way or the highway.
I feel like my soul is connected to my mind, not through duct tape, it's welded to my mind. And the distractions
By a
out
Red
there,
Seal welder.
yeah, and the
We hired
distraction-
Cam. Shout out to Cameron Gumple.
The distractions out there, all the little tiny strings, they have nothing against my welded fixture in my forehead. I'm so. But anyways, that's how I feel.
Okay,
about
Manny, I got a question for you.
Hey,
So, where do you think your identity derives from the most.
I want to talk about this, yeah. So, your soul, right? I talk about how it knows your past, your future, your deepest desires, and your present. Well, I feel like when we are born, our souls are relatively equal, right?
Because we don't know anything.
We don't know anything. When we're born, we don't know anything. And throughout our first years of our lives is where we experience things that will engrave in our soul forever. You know? We experience love from our mothers and from our parents. We experience
food.
We experience
lots of food.
Lots of food. We experience sleep. We experience relaxation. We experience light. We experience new environments. And it is essential throughout this period of your life that your parents expose you to the most in the world. Different cultures, different, if they want, different languages, different ways of learning. It's a period of you to learn, right? For your soul to develop.
Right, because every environment that you're put into, especially at that young age, is most likely new to you.
And I feel like it is vital. It is vital that when you are born and throughout the early childhood life that you have, that you are exposed to nature and that your soul learns from nature, because nature is pure, complex. Nature has a lot of energy, and if your soul can learn from nature instead of an iPad or instead of a phone, if your soul during childhood can learn from nature, you will be more connected to it. You will learn how to love it. You will learn how to protect it. You will learn how to become nature. You will learn how to live with all the other living organisms in this planet, and you will be present. Your connection will be stronger between your soul and your mind.
Which causes for more empathy, wouldn't you agree?
Exactly. And then you can respect nature and respect others who live within it.
Right.
And once you interact with other people, you will understand, hey, we all come from the same place. You got exposed to different things that I did when I was a child. Therefore, we're going to be different. But if we accept each other, we can develop a new story. We can learn from each other.
I forget. Sorry, man. I forget where I heard this quote from.
Yeah.
But it's, people are more similar than they are different.
Yes. That is so true. When they are different,
and we forget about that a lot of the times.
I agree.
And we look at someone that could have a shell of some sort of through what they put on in the morning, clothes-wise, or how they treat their bodies. Do they have tattoos, piercings, whatever? It's their shell. They can look completely different from someone else. Yeah, from the outside. However, they're just human, right? Like you're gonna look at him and say, oh, look at that guy. He looks different. We never do that. However, judgment is a big part of our world, but they're not that different than we are. It's crazy.
Equal, yeah.
We're all the same, dude.
We're all the same.
We all have the same things going on.
So I think it is very vital that you consciously know about this connection between your soul and your mind. And you consciously are focused in trying to keep that connection strong. And if that connection breaks, grab your string and put it in your
weld it back on there.
Put it back on there. You can put it back on there 20 times a day. It doesn't matter, as long as you can keep connecting that string to your forehead. Mm-hmm. Like if you're stuck in a job and you're doing something that you don't like, get up, walk around, reconnect that soul, that string to your forehead, and remember why you're doing your job. Remember, to survive.
You really like that word, Manny.
What?
Why?
Your why, exactly.
I love that word. Why?
We're gonna get into it.
¿Por qué?
¿Por qué? ¿Por qué?
¿Por qué, Manny?
Okay, you know what? We're gonna try something new this podcast. We're gonna try and speak it in Spanish, okay, Brody? Entonces de ahora en adelante vamos a hablar en español.
Hola. That's the one thing that I need to work on. I've known Manny for how long now?
9 years, 10.
For 10 years.
Yeah.
Known Manny for him and his family for 10 years.
Yeah.
And his mom, speaks a lot of Spanish.
You speak a lot of Spanish.
No, I don't speak a lot of Spanish.
But you
I can understand.
That's the first thing.
That's the thing. I can understand. It has to be situational. I have to be able to see. I can't put on headphones and listen to people speak and be like, oh, they said this. No. Maybe some words, but I need to be like,
very focused.
I need to, no, maybe not. Yeah, somewhat focused. Just I need to see the surroundings.
Oh, okay.
I need to see what's going on. I need to see the interaction of expression and face and whatnot.
And you know why you're good at that? Because you understand the human language. You understand the situation. Your mind is malleable on what is going on at that period in time.
Well, thank you.
So we talk about your mind. We talk about the connection to your soul. We talk about how strong your mind is and how powerful you have the control of reconnecting the string to your forehead and swapping all the other ones. That's very powerful on understanding how your mind works in a more spiritual way. Let's talk about your body, right?
Okay, what's your opinion on the definition of your body?
I feel like your body is it's a vessel to your soul. And we only get one, like you said in the last podcast.
You only get one ride, Manny.
Only one ride in your body, so you have to take care of it. And you take care of it probably more knowingly than me because you're a diabetic.
Yeah.
You test your sugars every single day.
I just finished testing.
How many times do you test the sugars?
Prick my finger probably close to 5 times a day.
5 times a day. So you're consciously taking care of your body. So you are very aware of taking care of your body.
Right. I know how I feel, so I can I can have a good guess on where my blood sugar is falling at based on how I feel.
Yeah, and I feel like everyone should be like you.
More in tune with their body?
Yeah, everyone should listen to their body. Brody, I can see Brody. We're talking, and all of a sudden, he will look at me. He's like, "I'm thinking my blood sugars are low," and then he tests his sugars. You know?
Yeah.
You are so in touch with your body and how your body feels that your body is healthy because you maintain it. I feel like everyone should be the same. If something's hurting, if something doesn't feel right, I encourage you to go out and look and do research on why it doesn't feel right. Like, for example, I was at work. I started an office job. My upper back was killing me. Absolutely killing me. Sitting, right? I was like, I need a standing desk. I applied for a standing desk.
You got a standing desk?
I'm going to get it within the next couple of weeks.
Just get an ergonomic kneeling chair as
I'm
well.
also going to get one.
As a standing desk.
So I listened to my body. I went to the physio, and she blew my mind. She was like, this is what's going on. Your back, you have this intense S curve on your upper back.
You do. It's like a hunchback.
I have like a hunchback kind of thing. She's like, that's a high stress point for your muscles, so you need to do these exercises at the gym. I need you to do this warm up. And I started doing that, and holy shit.
You feel good?
I feel fucking awesome. Like, my back is like so powerful right now. At work, I'm like, I'm a robot. I just go. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if something's not right, do it. And that comes into feeding your body. Nutrition, that's where it begins. I feel like taking care of your body is 80% nutrition and 20% physical activity. If you feed your body well, you will take care of it. And you got to be conscious of what you're putting. I stopped eating chips when I was in 9th grade. I was like, fuck this. I'm not eating chips. I'm not drinking pop. Why? It's just bullshit.
Man, I stopped drinking pop, but kept drinking beer. That came later on. I
started drinking beer though.
Yeah, we cut pop, but picked up beer.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta take care of your body.
Well, I would like to touch on that. Yeah. Both Manny and I are alcohol free now.
Yeah, we're alcohol free for a while.
We joke about that, but we don't consume.
For a while now.
For a while. Yeah. It's awesome.
And it's awesome.
It feels so good.
You save money.
Oh, dude, you feel so much.
You
don't have that extra,
you don't have hangover.
Exactly. You don't have that like extra layer of sugar fat because booze is mainly sugar, and you have like just does feel good.
Yeah, but anyways, your body, you have to take care of it, and you have to be consciously taking care of it. And if you feel something wrong, go get a blood test. It's as simple as that. It's super easy here in Canada. I don't know where else in the world, but here in Canada and the US, so easy to get your blood tested.
Westernized countries.
Exactly, yeah. And if you get your blood tested, you will see all your levels, your sugar, your everything, and you can react to it. Like for example, I went to get my blood tested, right? And after getting my blood tested, I figured out that I had low iron, right?
How long
I'm a
ago was
vegan,
it? Because
right?
I was just gonna say, because
So
you
I
don't
started.
eat meat.
So I started supplementing with vitamins, and multivitamin every day. I also started supplementing with a protein shake every day, and then I also take omega 369. And based on the research that I did, based on our talks that we had with our nutritionist, because Hope and I have a nutritionist, and all of a sudden I go and get my blood tested, and I'm perfect,
Nice.
like bang on.
Nice.
So that's what I'm saying. If something's wrong, something doesn't feel right, if you enter a new diet, make sure that you do the research. You go and you get your blood tested. And if something hurts, do it. And everyone should be like Brody 5 times a day. Listen to your body and say, how do I feel right now? Do I need water? Do I need food? Do I need to move around?
Right.
All right,
You
so
don't
that's-
necessarily have to check your sugars. Just self-reflection is
Don't
good.
take the sugars.
Yeah.
So that's mind, body, and soul. Do you want to add anything?
No,
on
I
the
think
body?
we have a very similar
View
definition and view of those 3 pillars,
of those 3 pillars, right?
3
And there's-
human pillars.
There is a blog post out there in our blog, in the website, adventuringforknowledge.com.
.com.
And go take a look at our blog. Oh, by the way, we're
What?
on iTunes now.
We're on iTunes.
We're on iTunes. We're on
Pretty sure
Google
we're-
Play
and iTunes.
and
Number
hopefully
3.
Spotify.
We're waiting on
So
Spotify.
You can now find us in iTunes,
I'm
hopefully in
all the way
Spotify
up.
soon. They're still in the approval stage. Hopefully they approve us because we say so many fucking shit all the fucking time. All the fuck.
Is
fuck,
that
fuck.
explicitity
But we've been
is
better
an
this
issue?
episode.
Pardon?
We've been better this episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Up until
Up until now.
now.
But you can find us at iTunes, Adventuring for Knowledge. You can find us on Google Play, Adventuring for Knowledge, and hopefully in Spotify. In our website, we also have Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So please let us know all your thoughts about these episodes.
Yeah, we want to have as many people reach out to us because that's how we get better.
That's how we get better.
And shout out to the people that did reach out to us and did give us advice and encouragement. We love you. We
love
thank
you
you.
all.
And they're really awesome and honest reviews.
Honest, very reviews.
Yeah, and there wasn't like, oh, you guys are crap, because I don't think we were crap. We were pretty
Well,
spot on.
It doesn't matter if we were crap because we can get better and better and better
Exactly.
and better and better.
Exactly.
And we got 2 microphones now. I don't know if that is.
How does it
Making
sound?
things better, yeah.
You guys think 1 microphone,
it sound?
2
Yeah.
microphones? Let us know. VentureForKnowledge.com.
You know it. Okay, then the next thing. Finding your why, Brody. Tell me.
Why?
Tell me your why and tell me how
Like
you found
Borg?
your why. Yeah.
I think we need to tell them what is your why?
What is your why?
Like,
Yeah.
what is your why? So before I get into my why,
Yeah.
I think we need to
I agree.
reflect on what that actually means.
So what do you think it means, Brody?
I think it's reasoning, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Why is your reasoning?
Yeah.
But it's your why. You could apply it to anything. So your why to achieve a goal should be, I think your why should derive from your soul. It should be
Yes.
what you're doing it for. It should be for satisfaction. It should be connected to your identity. Your why should be directly connected to who you are.
Yeah, I like what you said.
When achieving your goals, right? Because I think when your why is more connected to your soul, the more powerful and the higher chance of you succeeding the goal you are sought out to achieve will come true.
Yeah. So like you said, connected to your soul. So your why needs to come from the string, from your soul to your mind.
Right.
It cannot come from other strings,
No.
other strings of energy from the world. It has to come from your soul. It cannot come from another person. It cannot come from another medium out there. It has to come from your soul.
Right. And I think when you believe in your why very strongly, you will attract people.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes a good leader. There was a guy that I listened to in business school. His name's Simon Sinek. Simonsinek.
And there's a TED Talk.
TED Talk. He does a lot of TED Talks about friendship, about finding your why, but he relates it to marketing schemes and more of a business scheme. We're trying to relate this why to self-accomplishment and reasoning for your actions. Right?
So within your soul, what does your why?
What does
I want to
in
hear
my
from
soul?
your soul.
Ask me that
What
question
does it
again.
mean? What does it mean? Your why from your soul.
What does it mean to me?
Yeah.
What is my why, or what does my why means everything, because I know I've had the ability to know because I've went out to complete goals, and I've completed goals that I've set out to do before, and now reflecting on when going through that process of completing the goals, for example, school and soccer, I reflected on how I accomplished that, and all the fuel came from my why. And so
your why is everything.
Your why is everything, and the strength of your why will determine how successful you are. Because if you don't believe in your why, how are you going to convince anybody else? For example, a teacher. If you don't believe in your studies, how are you going to convince that teacher that you're capable of passing this course? Or if you don't believe in yourself on the field, if you truly don't believe in your why of why you're playing soccer and why you're here trying to win this game, then why should the coach believe in you?
Yeah, that is very true.
Right?
So how do you find your why?
How did I find my why? Through a lot of reflection.
Reflection, that's the number one thing, I think.
And okay, so I connect everything to sports, because that's
you're very into sports.
It's an active lifestyle that I have partaken, and I think people that don't do sports should join sports and think about what we're talking about, because I think it's the easiest to relate what we're talking about to sports or any kind of physical accomplishment, because you don't need any kind of high level of IQ to go out and go for a jog. All it takes is your mind to be like, let's do it.
And another thing
right?
that's very powerful out there, that people don't have to actually do sports and play sport, they can do yoga as well.
Right.
Yoga is any type of physical activity.
Totally. Any kind.
Doing yoga, anything.
Anything that's pushing you a little bit outside of your regular comfort zone.
So while you are doing these sports, do you reflect? Is that how you found your why? Okay, so let me get back to my why. Yeah. So you can have multiple whys. First of all, you can have so many whys.
You have so many whys. You should have a why for everything that you do. And so for soccer, at first, my why for becoming a professional soccer player was to have that title of being a professional soccer player. But I was young. I just wanted it, I wanted to look cool. That was my dream. Yeah, obviously that's my dream. And now, it wasn't just to look cool. From a young age, it was I want to be a soccer player, because that made me feel like I belonged. Yeah. I feel the most, well, not anymore. After a lot of reflection, I'm pretty solid of bringing that space in my mind of being completely grounded wherever I go. But when I was younger, I felt like I belonged the most when I was on that field.
So you needed to prove to someone else?
Yeah, I felt like I always needed to prove myself to other people. Yeah. I always needed to be approved. And social media sucked, because then you're trying to prove. You're trying to make yourself. You're trying to perceive yourself as high up as possible, right? And then you just reflecting on some of the stuff that I posted about myself going forward throughout my career, because I wasn't being picked to go and be on an MLS team or go and be on a pro team, right at kind of in the mix of you're good enough but you're not quite there yet. But then early on at that point, I'm trying to make people think I was already there by what I put on social media, right?
So
no, maybe not already there, but just to make, just like manipulating a bit just how you're perceived. Everybody does it.
Everybody does it. Yeah.
Everybody does it. And so that was my why. Before, but that was part of my why, strong part of my why. And I haven't reflected on my why before until like 2 years ago. And when my why changed, and I felt my why change, and I went, oh, that's it. Like,
that's a beautiful feeling.
That's what they were talking about in those business videos. Why?
Yeah.
Relating it to what I learned, but in a different field. And it was when I was in Thailand. So I went to Thailand. Long story short, went to Thailand for the second time, soccer trial, signed a contract. 5 days later, had the contract taken away for no apparent reason. We didn't hear my representative, myself, didn't hear any of the reason. So I stayed in Thailand. I just stayed in Thailand for 2 months after, because I had financially capable of doing that. And so I trained with some pros that were there, that were living there, that were trying to find a team as well.
Yeah.
And there was an agency that I just didn't sign with, but they had space to train, and they were there wanting me to train with them, as well as I was playing on the streets in Thailand, in Pattaya specifically. And I would go to this part of Pattaya called Pattaya Klang, and it was about a 45-minute walk from where I'm staying, or about a 20-minute scooter taxi ride.
So through playing on the streets, you found your wife?
Dude. So I would go to these drop-in sessions, and there would be guys, like mafia guys, covered from head to toe in tattoos, covered on the back, like people that were poor, like just kind of like, whoa, like the streets, right?
The streets,
And it was like a pretty nice field. It was like a lit up. It wasn't like a dirt field, like I'm in the streets, but it was
a very different kind of people.
Definitely, and not a rich neighborhood, right? But it was just a close field to where I was living that had continuous play, and I just wanted to play. And so when I first got there, I'm a big, tall, white dude. I'm the only white, like there's not I'm the minority. So I go there, and everybody's pretty welcoming. They understand that I want to play. They have a hard time understanding my Thai, and I have a hard time understanding their English. So the communication was verbally very broken up.
Yeah.
And it's almost not uncomfortable, but at points kind of uncomfortable when you're kind of trying to communicate, but you can't get it through until you play. And then when you play, you're having these connections with people that you can't make any connections with verbally at all. But now all of a sudden you're on the field, and you guys are speaking the same language, and you're having the most fun. The F word, our second favorite F word, Manny. Fun, right? I was having so much fun, even though besides the circumstances of becoming pro and then not becoming pro, but I was having so much fun. And that's when my why changed. Throughout those 2 months of continuously going back and playing with them, seeing how much fun they were having and how much fun I was having. And I just went, why do I play soccer? I play soccer to be able to leverage as many good feelings and good interactions and good scenarios as possible. Doesn't matter what level I'm playing at going forward. I want to be able to attain that feeling every time I step onto the field and play.
That's beautiful.
Practice, game with people alone. Right?
So that's how you found your why.
That's how I found my why.
And that is fucking beautiful.
Sorry. Thanks, buddy.
No, that's awesome, because once you were doing that, you were one self with you.
I felt so free. And
your connection between your soul and your mind
Right.
was so strong.
And you know what? I felt like
You
I was at my
reflected.
best playing.
Yeah.
Because I had no interference from the outside affecting how I felt. I just felt very present
Yeah.
in what I was doing at that exact moment.
And you were just having fun.
I was just having fun.
And enjoying this world, enjoying soccer, like
Yeah.
And
With
I feel
people
like
that don't speak each other's languages.
exactly, and I feel like that is the key right there. When you are truly connected with what you are doing, and you are just focusing on what you are doing, and you are trying to have fun, you're being passionate about it. You had that experience, right? You had that experience of having fun and being connected with yourself by just playing soccer on the streets. And I feel like people can do the same if they keep trying different things, right?
Exactly.
If they can go out in nature, and if they can feel connected, and if they feel like they are having fun, then you can start reflecting on what your why is. Why am I living here? Why am I doing this? Why am I
And I think when
achieving all
someone
things?
comes up with an idea to go accomplish something, that when they think of their why, that why doesn't have to be concrete.
No, it can be very abstract, and then you
Right.
can figure it out throughout the way.
Exactly, it can change, and you need to let it change. You need to listen to your mind, body, and soul,
Yeah.
right?
I feel like finding your why can come in a number of different ways, right? Number one, it's from doing what you love. Your soul knows what they love. Like, you love soccer, I love being in nature, and I can reflect.
You love pushing your body to the
I
max.
love pushing
Tell you
the
that
body to
one.
max, yeah. And
You're
there's a lot of
nuts.
different ways to do that. You can do Reiki sessions for just relaxing your mind 100% and really reflecting on what your soul is trying to say. You can do yoga. You can play all different kinds of sports. You can do hikes.
You can even partake in
what?
monitored psychedelics.
You can also do psychedelics in a controlled and spiritual way.
You need a sitter, someone that
Yeah.
is there that you're comfortable with.
Sometimes
And
that's a very powerful way of connecting to your soul.
We're not saying, hey, go do psychedelics, but that is a way a very well documented way of finding
Your soul.
your soul.
And I'll give an
Through
example.
microdosing psychedelics.
Like, for example, my mom, she has cancer, right? And
Shout out to Karina.
Shout out to Karina.
We love that woman.
She went to
Hi, Karina.
once she found out that she had cancer, she went to Mexico, and she did ayahuasca. And through doing ayahuasca, she connected with her soul in a way that gave her motivation to live and fight this cancer. And it gave her motivation of, why are you doing this? Why are you living?
I thought she was a little bit different.
No, I know.
Right?
She hated drugs. She hated them with all her, but this really broadened her mind.
Right.
And
Good for her.
yeah, good for her. Yeah.
That's the first time I didn't know she did that.
Yeah, she did that.
She probably wanted to keep that on the DL. But
Yeah, probably just spilled.
sorry,
the beans,
Karina.
right?
Spilled the beans.
Spill the beans to the world.
Yeah, to the world. Unlucky.
But anyways, that's
okay.
That's what my mom. And to be honest, 100%, this is how I started thinking about mind, body, and soul. Hope and we smoked weed in a spiritual way in our home, and then we just started reflecting on life, and we came with this mind, body, and soul thing. How crazy is that?
The 3 pillars?
Yeah. How crazy is that? And then the next day we went for a hike, you and I.
Yep.
And we were doing physical exercise, being in nature.
Was
and
this
we just exploded
New
this
Year's
concept.
Eve day?
Hmm?
Was this New Year's Eve
Yeah.
day when we hiked
Yeah.
Mount Finn?
Yeah. So that's
So
how it
cool.
started. It started, first of all, by doing it in a spiritual way, marijuana. And then we went for a hike, being in nature, and we felt completely connected to nature, that we just went crazy and exploded our minds with all this thinking and reflecting. And you know what? Another thing that people can do out there, journaling. Journaling is powerful.
Especially when you wake up right in the morning.
Yeah, I listened to this, I read this article that said that 70% of all the successful people out there, millionaires, they journal. Meaning that they put their thoughts into paper since they were young. And that just reflects on what you're thinking, what your goals are. And just putting things down in paper or in a computer or anywhere, it releases that thought that you have, and it documents it for you to be able to come back to it or just get rid of it, you know? Another very interesting thing that I heard is that you have to get rid of your successes as well as your failures.
Your ego.
Your ego, you know it. So for example, and I'll give a quick example. I started something very interesting at the University of Victoria. I started a club, the UVic Summer Racing Club. And after graduating, I had that success in my... I was like,
taste.
oh yes, this is so successful. But I had to let that go.
Right.
I had to let that
Good
go
or
because
bad,
it's
you had to let
done.
it, because it's the past, dude.
It's the past. It's done.
You can write it down. People
I
know what
wrote
you
it
did.
down, exactly. And now
You
I
know
moved
what you
into
did.
the next thing.
Exactly.
This podcast. You know?
Transitioning.
And then you just gotta keep, as soon as you keep accomplishing one thing, move it aside. Keep going to the next one. As soon as you accomplish one thing, move it to the side. Don't dwell about it. Don't even think about it. Move to the next one. And that mentality will automatically move you into achieving as much as possible, as many things throughout your life.
I agree.
Not dwelling and not keeping your successes and your failures in your mind and in your soul.
And I think we can connect that to Barry's quote, my dad, never ride too high, never ride too low.
Never ride too high. I think I like that quote, but I like riding high.
You like riding high?
I just like giving her.
I know. But that's contradicting what you just said. You got to put in your...
Yeah,
put
well, while you're doing
No,
it...
but what he means, like, never ride too high, never ride too low,
Yeah.
is your reaction to
your
scenarios.
reaction to scenarios.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
That's when he applies that saying. He's saying...
I thought...
is exactly what you're
Yeah.
saying, is just putting in the past.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to give her every time.
Once
Like,
you're doing something, it has to be 180,000%.
That's work ethic.
Or ethic.
That's work ethic.
All right, so that's your whys. I want to talk about my why. Because I feel like you relate to my why a little bit.
Your why for doing what?
My why for everything.
Your why, okay. Your life why.
My life why.
Okay.
I feel like...
I think that your life why will be very similar to my life why.
Very interesting.
And I will agree and I'll touch when I say, okay, yeah.
I have a lot of whys, but
That's
I feel
good.
like one of the whys that I connect the most with is I look at my life and I am reflecting on it. I started reflecting like 5 years ago. I started writing things down. I started just trying to see the deeper meaning on life of just graduating and getting a job and stuff like that. And I feel like...
What else is out there?
What else is out there?
Right.
I feel like one of my whys is there's gotta be something more.
Yeah.
There's gotta be something more in my life than just getting a degree and freaking just working 8 to 5 and trying to work out. There's gotta be something more.
All right, man, I'm going to stop you right there. I say it. This is why you're going to be an amazing ultra runner.
I am trying.
This is I'm not an ultra runner
running,
myself.
by the way.
Manny approached me. I think he was inspired by the Rich Roll
Yeah, definitely.
podcast. Rich Roll is a vegan who competes in ultra runners, and he's done this amazing feat called the Epic 5.
Yeah.
Right? And now it's a patent run where you do 5 triathlons in 5 days on 5 islands in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And he said the exact same thing as a lot of those athletes have said. What else is out there?
But there's
What's
gotta
next?
be something more.
What's next? There's got to be that
Like-
that mind of adventure and curiosity. That's very similar to how
And
I
that's
think.
just curiosity, because I'm a human. I'm curious of what's out there. Like, there's got to be something more than what I've experienced in this environment. I feel like I want to be a jack of all trades. When I was in university, I learned everything about marine industry. I feel like eventually I'm going to hit a cap on that with regards to I'm going to get comfortable. And I need to learn
You're going to
something
become
new.
a master.
I need to do something else.
What's next, Manny?
I'm very curious. This podcast.
Oh, boom.
We're gonna adventure for knowledge in this podcast. We're gonna learn so much from so many different subjects that we are going to broaden our mind. There's gonna be something more to live than just your normal job.
And I think this podcast, like, one thing we're going to do with this podcast is create this fitness for this podcast.
Yeah.
Create our fitness for our podcast and always have that effort to, okay,
Yeah, exactly.
it's podcast day, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Like,
And
we
then-
got to do it because it comes down. We don't have sponsors yet.
No,
This
no.
is we're building. We got to build this.
Okay,
we got to
exactly.
build. We got to build and build and build and build. And the only way to do it
is by talking out there, baby.
by just
Just
getting up and
adventuring
doing
for
it.
knowledge,
We're
getting
just-
out there.
yeah.
What I think is that when I feel of my why is that I want to be physically fit, but I also want to be mentally fit.
Boom.
Like, that's the number one thing. Mental fitness is very important to me. I like swapping all those distractions away and just focusing on my task. That's what I like doing. I like focusing and finding a better thing to do. There's gotta be something more out there. I have a second why that's very engraved in my soul, and I feel that comes from my childhood, from my experience. When I was a complete accident. I was born by complete accident. Like, my mom did something with my dad, and well, we don't know what they did in Europe.
They did something.
In the Euro trip.
Something.
And then my mom came back, and then, oh shit, I'm pregnant, right? And then
Oops.
I was born, right? My dad came, they tried to deal with things, didn't work, they split up. And I had a stepfather, but that stepfather wasn't my blood father, right? And my blood father didn't put any effort into raising me, right? For 17 years. Not my stepfather, my blood father. My blood father didn't put any effort into contacting me or raising me at all. My stepfather, on the other way, he raised me to his image. He taught me everything that he knew. He taught me how to talk to people. He taught me how to sell things, because he's a big salesperson.
He taught you how to work.
He taught me the value of hard work, and I appreciate a lot what he taught me, and I'm using it in every single day of my life.
Right.
But there was something within me like, why is my blood father not trying the same thing, right? And that was something that really engraved in my soul with regards to, this dude is not trying.
He's
And
not your father. He's not your dad.
Well, that's what developed my why, one of my whys, because I wasn't proud of him at all, right? And I feel like now that I am getting to the point of having children, within the last 5 years, as soon as Hope came to Canada, I started thinking about this 5 years ago, is that I want my children to be proud of me, because I wasn't proud of my father, but I want my children to be proud of me. I want my children to look at me and say, holy fuck, this dude is awesome. This dude knows so much.
I want to be like daddy.
I want to be like that. I want that. I want my children to be proud of me, and that's why I'm trying to gain knowledge from as many places as possible so I can provide the tools necessary for my children to learn. And I want them to be proud of me. That's what I'm trying to do. That's one of my whys. That's why I took engineering, because I thought that was one of the main sources of knowledge out there, taking engineering. Well, that's just in my mentality, because my mom is an architect, and I got brainwashed by my mom.
She did a good job.
But then after that, I did sports, a lot of sports, sailing. I learned so much from sailing. I tried an Olympic campaign in 2012. It didn't work out, but I learned a lot from it. And now I'm doing this podcast and adventuring for knowledge, and I'm gonna talk to a lot of people and try to gain as much knowledge as possible. And I hope that my children, my future children, are proud of what I have achieved and what I have left them with.
Totally.
Because my blood father didn't left me with anything, but I want to leave my children with as much knowledge about life as possible. That's my why, baby. That's one of my whys. Very powerful.
High five number 4, by the way.
Every time I wake up at 3 in the morning, or I do an all-nighter, and at 2 in the morning, and I sit down in my chair, and I'm about to start something, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I want to sleep. And I was like, no. My children
my kids.
Proud of me. They have to be proud of me. They have to
Manny,
learn.
I'm sure they're going to be proud of you no matter
so.
what.
I hope
Because
so.
I know you're just going to be there. You're the guy that's just going to be there.
Yeah.
Because you show that through our friendship. You show that through all your meaningful relationships. Yeah. You're the rock solid friend, the friend that everybody can rely on. And however, not everybody has access to you because you keep your life so simple.
Yeah.
You keep your circle small, and you invest so much into all the relationships, friendships that you have with humans and with nature, like your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right? You're investing your diet, your veganism. You're investing your lifestyle of zero waste to your relationship with Mother Nature, our planet, right?
Focusing on everything that you do to 120%. Like if you're trying to develop a relationship, do it. You're 120%. Swap away all distractions. Like really put effort into it.
Yeah.
If you're trying to play soccer and do a professional career, focus 120%. Give her. Go practice every day. Go to the gym. Kick the ball around in
every day.
Basketball court.
Oh, I do.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If you're if you're working and you're trying to move your way up the ladder in a corporate world, do it.
Do it.
Put yourself into it. Immerse yourself. Go home. Research. Read books. Do everything. If you're trying to be an ultra runner, do it. Just
do it.
Go out there.
And I think
120. If there's distractions out there, you just need to swat them. Don't go out drinking. Don't do well. If you want to invest your time into social and you want to be a very social person, you can do that.
Right.
But I feel like if you are trying yourself to be social, there's more than just drinking.
Oh yeah, you don't need to drink to be social.
No, you can. Just
I go to bars all the time and drink water.
But it's a social stigma, you know. And it's very hard to break it, and it has been very hard for us to break it. I feel.
What social
stigma with regards to you have to drink to have fun.
Oh, when we were younger.
When you're younger, you're like, well, I have to.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to be comfortable with yourself.
True, and I think another aspect of you're connecting to your why is believing in your why and then acting upon your why, but without fear.
Without fear, yeah.
Being fearless.
Did I already talk about this, about the rat and the trap?
No.
In this podcast?
No, I don't think.
No? Well, I'm going to do it again.
You're going to do it? You're going to give it to us right now?
Just picture a rat and it's trying to get the cheese.
Oh, no, you did. You did. Yeah.
You have to face your fears. You have to move past the trap, right? You can't live on your fears. Like this push for this podcast, it was kind of like scary to do it, right?
Yeah, until we started talking, then we're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's do this. But
this is awesome.
We had to do the initial push. We had to put in at least a month of work into it.
Little leg work, right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not going to achieve everything if you don't initially put the first little month or two of work into it,
and then continuously working from there on out.
And then continuously working. Like if I want to become an ultra, I'm not just gonna do it. I have to give the initial push of waking myself every morning and running.
Yeah, running a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, you have to do that initial push, and then after you do that initial push, picture that you're in a mountain, like our beautiful logo.
Yep.
And you're pushing a rock up the mountain. That's
Manny,
the initial push.
where can we find that logo?
In adventureinfoknowledge.com.
Boom.
I bet if you are trying something new out there, if you're starting a business, if you are starting a podcast, if you're starting a YouTube channel, if you're starting a new job, whatever you're doing, if you're trying to do something new, you're going to have to give it that initial push. And that initial push, close your eyes. We're going to picture it again. Picture this mountain, right? And that initial, the thing that you're trying to do is this huge rock. And that initial push, you're trying to push that rock up the mountain. And you're pushing it and you're pushing it and you're pushing it. And once you're at the top, you have given that initial push. And after that, it's a free roll down the hill.
Coasting, baby.
A free roll down the hill. But if you are not enjoying what you're doing, after you give that initial push, if you are not having fun, if you're not feeling passionate about it, then that's not going to be a downhill. That's going to be a flat that you're still going to have to push. So that's when you know that what you're doing is probably not your passion.
Your why isn't strong enough.
Your why isn't strong enough.
Right.
But you can take a step back and think of it and reflect on, why am I doing this? And then that flat can become a downhill because you reflect on it. Don't be afraid of reflect. Because reflecting on your life and writing thoughts down is what makes us human, being able to analyze and adapt to different environments. And if you're trying something new, it is just time for you to learn the ways and keep being passionate about it. And
Totally. Okay, Manny. So
yeah,
that was nice.
we're expanding a lot.
Yes, it's good.
I hope that people find this useful. I don't know if they will. I hope my children listen to this.
Yeah,
And they say,
I'm sure they
"Oh
will.
my God, we got mentioned in the second podcast."
Shout out to the kids.
Shout out to the future children.
10 years from now. I don't know about you, Manny, but
Well, Hope and I started talking, and we're like, we're pretty comfortable right now.
to have kids?
The thing is that if you're doing something in your life,
Yeah.
and you find yourself comfortable,
Change it?
change it. That's when you have to change it.
Right.
You know, like if you're starting a job and this is ridiculously hard job, and then after 2 years, you eventually become comfortable in it, and you're like, well, another day in the job, I'm so comfortable, there's nothing new. Do something else. Just quit.
Yeah.
Do another job.
Yeah.
It's that point of where you're becoming comfortable. You have to switch it to
Right.
becoming uncomfortable, because when you are uncomfortable, you learn. You learn more.
To be able to reach your full potential
Yeah.
as a human being.
So I am very comfortable right now, and Hope and I are talking into
Having kids.
being uncomfortable and having kids and then initializing a new adventure. Because if you're uncomfortable, that means that you are adventuring.
I was given the timeline of like 5 years. I didn't know it was going to be like 9 months
Yeah.
before you're like, all right, we're going to pop out kids now.
No one knows, man.
No one knows.
It just comes within. If you feel
Literally.
uncomfortable, switch it. Just like that. Okay, we're speaking for an hour and 14 minutes now. Plus a little bit more.
Perfect. So last episode, I talked about myself
Yeah.
and a little history about me. Manny,
Yes.
it's your turn.
Okay,
I
I'm
would
gonna try.
love to hear a summary
Yeah.
of your childhood, brief childhood, and then touch more on when you came to Canada and from
Yeah.
there on out. And when you're finished with that, I'll talk about our friendship and
Let's
how
do it.
we met.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important that I introduce myself, and Manny introduces himself, and then we introduce how we became friends,
Yeah.
and how our mind, body, and soul intersected and grew together.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So for the
tell
listeners
us away,
out there,
Manny.
for the listeners out there, this period of the podcast is where we're going to introduce myself. You can move on to the next episode or to the previous one, or you can
Or look
stay
through our
and listen.
resources or our
Or look through our
blog,
resources and
at
everything. But if you're interested in
adventureinforknowledge.com.
listening, go for it. And
Please listen. I encourage you because it's a cool guy.
I mean,
And he has a cool story. Manny, stop being humble. Like, if you want to listen to me, you don't have to listen to me. Listen to this guy. He's got a really cool story, and you can learn a lot from him, because I've learned a lot from him.
yeah. So I talked to you. Oh,
High
yeah,
five.
that's it.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck, I lost count.
Look at your album. No, that's 5. That's
That's
6. Boom.
There you go. So I'm gonna try and keep this under 20 minutes, but we'll see how it
All right.
goes.
Give her.
So I already talked to you about how I was born as a complete accident.
So where were you born, Manny?
Well, my mom went to...
You're born in
Europe.
Montreal, right?
No, I wasn't born in Montreal. My mom went to Europe, and then she got pregnant. She came back, and then she's like, fuck, I'm pregnant.
She came back to Mexico?
To Mexico, yeah. Because she started architecture in Mexico.
Right.
And then she's like, I'm pregnant. She sent a letter to my dad,
Who's Canadian?
who's Canadian. And my dad is from Longueuil, Quebec. And she said, hey, I'm pregnant. And my dad, at first, he was like, is this my child? And my mom was like, well, yeah, no fucking shit, this is your child. So my dad traveled to Mexico, and he knew no one. He knew my mom for like a week, right? When he was in Europe. So when he went to Mexico, I was already born, 2 weeks. And he just started meeting everyone. So he was kind of freaked out. And he just like, he was doing like a criminology degree in Quebec. So this totally threw him a curveball, hardcore, right? And so they try to raise me. My dad, when he went to Mexico, we lived in Guadalajara, Mexico for 1 year. And then my dad was like, I can't find any job here. And my mom was like, well, I have an architectural job. Why don't you stay, right? And he wasn't happy. So they both collectively decided to move to Quebec, to Longueuil. And I lived there for 4 years until I was 5. My sister was born. But my mom hated it because it was cold as fuck.
Yeah.
Coming from Mexico. She went there and it was snowing. And I have videos of myself speaking in French. And I have no fucking French knowledge right now. It blew out of my mind. Yeah, I forgot all my French. But yeah, when I was 5, I was fluent in French. That was the only... Well, I spoke a little Spanish, but French was my main language. And then my parents split up, and I moved back to Mexico. And I lived with my grandparents in Guadalajara, Mexico. Jalisco. The greatest
With Tita?
state. With Tita, my Tita. Much love to my Tita.
Amazing woman. Shout out to Tita.
Shout out to Tita. And then all of a sudden I was like, my mom met my stepfather, who has
Desmond.
an amazing story. My stepfather. Which
He's a
we'll talk
badass
about.
man who I've met and hung out with many a times.
Yeah.
And I've
He's
learned
awesome.
lots.
Yeah.
Why? He's the same as Manny.
Yeah.
Manny and Desmond are so similar.
Quick story about him. He lived in Ireland. And then he was born in Ireland, moved to England, got in a gang fight, went to jail. After he got out, he went to... Well, he didn't went to jail because he was underage. He went to like... Juvie, yeah.
Correctional
He was in
detention.
a gang, so they started smashing windows after a soccer game.
He was a hooligan.
Classic English people.
Yeah.
And then he went to the US after that, and he started working at a chocolate factory, and then all of a sudden the guy retired, gave him the chocolate factory, started making lots of dough, bought cars, motorcycles. All his brothers were working with him. He did an underground casino, and shit started getting bad. Business started going bad because the casino started bringing bad word. So he decided to gather all his money and go to Mexico, and then just leave the chocolate factory, just chilling. So then he met my mom, and
That was in South Carolina, right?
Yeah,
North
Long
Carolina?
Beach.
Long
Yeah.
Beach?
so that's what happened. And so he was fleeing the U.S. down to Mexico, and my mom met him, and she was like, "Ooh,
Yeah,
English accent."
danger.
So with the money that my dad made, we bought a piece of land in La Cruz de Guanacaste, in near Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, like 20 minutes away from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That's where I lived my childhood, in the beach house in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. But
Not too shabby,
eventually, not too shabby, but the thing is that the money that my dad had to buy the building and build the building, beach house,
Yep.
it quickly flew, right? After building the house, it went away. So we were there, very poor, and then my mom eventually got a a job as an architect for this school, Colegio Americano. And that's where I went because she built one of the buildings in that school. And this school is fancy ass private school. Like everyone who went there at least owned a business or owned a hotel in Mexico.
Money ain't a thing.
And I was there and I was like, yeah, I'm here because my mom is an architect.
You want to be friends?
So and my mom loved, because my grandfather, he was a doctor, so he was pretty wealthy. And my mom loves to spend money. But at the same time, she knew what to do, you know? She knew what to do in order to get there. And she showed me the value of you can do anything you want. You can do anything that you put your mind into. And there's always going to be a lucky star behind you. And I'm very grateful for that. And something that I use every single day of my life. That mentality of you can do it. If someone else can do it, you can do it. And that has been the base of, I believe, everything that I've done, everything that I've accomplished so far. So yeah. We went to the school and I grew up in the beach house. And then all of a sudden my mom, she did an architectural job for a guy and I started sailing. So I started sailing, started taking sailing classes eventually. I rigged up the boat all by myself and I went out there and eventually we found a coach, and this coach, she started teaching me how to sail, and eventually I got really good at it because after school, that's all I did. After school I went sailing, and I really got good at soccer, but at the same time I had my friends
Sailing
playing.
or soccer? You said soccer.
Sailing.
You are a good soccer player.
At the same time, all my friends were like, oh, let's play soccer in recess. So I started playing soccer too. And then one of my very good friends played tennis, so I started playing tennis too. So I played
Was
tennis,
it
soccer.
Danny? Danny or Frank?
Esteban, another guy.
Oh, another guy.
But yeah, Danny, I knew Danny because of tennis.
Tennis, yeah.
So then I didn't know what to choose, sailing, soccer, or tennis. So I just gave her.
And your uncle's a tennis coach.
And my uncle is a tennis
coached.
coach. He coached John McEnroe.
Crazy.
So my great uncle, he coached John McEnroe. So tennis is within my blood, and my grandfather loved tennis, so he always took me playing tennis. So I learned all three sports at the same time. I didn't know how to choose one. And that was my childhood sports.
You too, baby.
So
Me too.
I went sailing on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then I went to play tennis on Wednesdays, and then I played soccer every time. And then eventually, what happened is that I chose one sport, which was sailing. Well, I tried out soccer, and I didn't work out in a professional team in Guadalajara.
Nice.
With Las Chivas.
Nice.
But I got a ball in the face and I started bleeding, and my trial wasn't that good. So then I started playing tennis a lot, and I went to a lot of tournaments.
That's funny.
And I won a lot of tournaments, but it wasn't my passion. I wasn't into it.
Tennis.
Yeah, tennis.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started sailing a lot, and I was like, this is it.
This is it, baby.
This is it. So I always just went hardcore on sailing. And I'll fast forward with sailing a little bit years forward. In 2011, I won nationals in Mexico for sailing. And in 2010, I got second place. And in 2009, I won third place. So I kept progressing until 2011 when I won nationals. So I was like, let's just go all for it. Let's go to the Worlds and try to go to the Olympics. So the Mexican government paid my airfare, and we tried doing it. And the first couple of competitions that I did to go into the Worlds and to the Olympics, it was very windy, but I gave her hard, but I didn't place in the position to keep going. So I learned a lot from the people. It was my first year trying, so I'm not gonna just do it in the first time.
Manny, would you ever
but
go
I tried
back?
my hardest.
Would you go back and try again?
Maybe. Yeah,
You
but
should.
right now I'm at a different point in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
But you never know. Get
Yeah.
bored or something, be like, all right, time to sail again.
Yeah. So I love sailing. I love the ocean. I love the feeling that you get from the wind and I just love being in nature, and I love the fact that just the sail can move you through the water, and you feel the waves. When you're sailing, you really feel the waves, and you can surf the waves with your sailboat, and it's
So
just
you
a
have that
magical
same
feeling.
strong feeling of belonging,
Yeah, strong feeling of
like
belonging.
I have when I play soccer.
It's the same thing, man.
Yeah.
I love the ocean. I
It's
love
crazy,
sailing.
man.
And eventually, when I grow up, I want to buy a catamaran and sail around the world. It's
When we win the lotto, right?
when we're doing the lotto, it's gonna happen.
Natty and I have a deal. If either of us win the lottery, we have to buy the other person a catamaran.
Yeah.
So we'll each have a catamaran, and we're gonna sail around the world.
We're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Even if we just have one catamaran, we're still gonna sail around the world.
And then eventually in 2009, my mom said, Mexico's not working for us. You're going into high school, into grade 10, 11, and 12. There's no future here for you, so you're Canadian. Let's choose the warmest place in Canada. And we chose Victoria, BC. But before that, the winter break, before I came, I met my beautiful wife, Hope. So we were neighbors, yeah. And we were neighbors in the same town, La Cruz, the Guanacaxtla. And I met her, I fell in love with her in the winter. And we went for adventures, we went kayaking, we went walking, and she was just so cool. She was a very cool girl, very beautiful. So I asked her to be my girlfriend. I wrote, "Quieres ser mi novia?" which means, "Do you want to be my girlfriend?" With rocks in the sand, very romantic. And she said yes, so we dated for 8 months. But she was 13 and I was 15, so we were very small. But it was like a first love, intense love kind of thing. So when I left to Canada, we've been dating for 9 months, 8 months, and we broke up, and it was devastating. It was like, it really engraved in my heart the devastation of leaving Hope. And eventually we did our own thing. She dated her own people, I dated my own people in Canada. And I came to Canada, I was new. It was a new city, a new country. I didn't spoke English very well, like at all. I don't know how you understood me. Like,
It's a
seriously.
struggle.
And then I went looking for high schools here in Victoria, BC, and eventually me being guided into sports, I found Oak Bay. They were playing rugby in the outside in the field, and I was like, "Ooh, rugby! Look at all these people hitting each other." So
Because you went and looked at other schools before, right?
Yeah, I
you
went to-
looked at
I went
Vic
to Big
High.
High.
People were just
people were
outside
smoking
smoking
on the outside, and I was like,
cigarettes, and nah, it wasn't
yeah,
really
it wasn't
seen.
it wasn't
No one
mine.
plays sports. You went to
Yeah.
Mount Doug, right?
No, I went to Reynolds.
Reynolds.
I went to Reynolds, and the field was just empty, and I walked in, and
And that's funny because Reynolds has a soccer academy there.
it has
He probably would have got hooked if they were out there
Yeah.
running
yeah.
soccer.
But when I walked in, like people who received me, I didn't got a good vibe.
Right.
Got a good vibe. But then when I walked into Oak Bay, it was like, I felt like I belonged there.
It's like,
You
this
know?
is the place.
I felt like I belonged there. So then I then eventually just started going to classes. No one knew who I was.
Yeah. Even the teachers, they're like,
Even the teachers,
who
they're
are
like,
you?
Who is this? He's at
Are
the
you on the
back.
list?
No, I wasn't even signed
You weren't
up
even on the list. You're just
for 2 weeks. For the first 2 weeks, I was just going to random classes.
really.
Yeah.
So
My
like
mom hadn't
when we
signed me
met
in.
in
My mom
grade
hadn't
10 science class, you weren't even in that class?
No. Eventually, my mom just eventually signed me up like 2 weeks later. So I just started going to classes, and eventually I hooked up with soccer with you. You were probably my first interaction.
Yeah, I remember, dude. I remember the day. So we had science class, grade 10 science class with Mr. Simonson.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there in class, and the man, he sits down, he's right behind me. And I turn around, and I'm like, Brody being Brody. He's like, hey,
And I was like, hey.
how's it going?
And me, yo no inglés.
Yeah, yeah. He just kind of looked at me. He's like, what is going on? So we introduce ourselves, and then we have our class, and class continues on, and we go on with our day, and then later that day there was soccer trials,
Yeah.
and we were both late for the trials, We were both in the change room late, so it was just the two of us. We're like, oh, hey.
Hey again.
Hey again.
You were the guy.
Yeah, you're the weird guy that said hi to me. Want to be friends? No, I didn't have it that quick. And then we waited for each other to get changed, then walked down on the field together, and we were a little bit late, and we missed the speech of the welcoming speech, and then they were just warming up, and so we went ahead and we were jogging around the field with the team, but the back of the line and 2 single file lines, and we were warm-up partners, and we did our warm-up and then passed the ball a bit and warming up, and then once it came to the organized, it was a trial, so they just wanted to see us play. They split us up into positionally first. So okay, forwards go left, midfielders in the center, defenders right, goalkeepers fuck off over there somewhere. And so Manny and I were split into the defenders, and then they asked, so who plays center back? And then both Manny and I, me. We both put up our hands, and we're standing right beside each other, and so they're like, okay, put on a whatever. So we're on the same team, whatever color penny, I don't know. And then we played, and we were dominating.
We dominated.
I swear.
Brody and I, we dominated the defense. Nothing's passing.
So then we realized this is the first time that Manny and my soul, but we didn't know at the time until we reflect on it.
Yeah.
This is the first time our souls met because we played the game the same way.
Yeah, we did.
We didn't like to lose. Not one bit. We played very physical. We talked on the field. We played with this grit and passion that is hard to find sometimes. It's just that want to win. And we both kind of like acknowledged it. It's like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, this guy's the same as me. We're kicking ass. Like, yahoo. And from there on out, Manny and I ended up playing high school, and then he came and played with my club team.
Yeah, you invited me to play your club team, and we were
coached by my dad.
Yeah. And we were center defense for 4 years.
4 years.
Three years. We played center D.
Yeah, baby.
Nothing passed us.
No, well,
we did awesome, man.
We did
fucking
awesome.
Kicked butt.
We did.
At high school, we kicked butt. We had a great team.
Yeah, no, it was really.
We had a great
fun.
team, and when Spanish fusion.
Yeah.
But yeah, we played really good, and we
so
connected.
That's where our
souls connected for the first time.
Our friendship kindled.
Yeah.
From that experience, and then from our souls, because that's why I think our souls are so important, because that's our why for doing things, and ours are very similar. So then we started doing everything together and became such great friends.
Yeah.
Because we felt the same things towards
when I was connecting
situations, right?
I feel like when I was connecting my strength from my soul to my mind, I connected it sometimes to your mind, and you received it very well. And then you connected your strength from your soul to my mind.
Yep.
And we received it very well. We thought the same. We
thought differently. We thought the same.
We had the same kind of like childhood, in a sense of like love. We got a very love from my parents. My mom loved me a lot. So we had that
nice upbringing,
family
sense
kind
of family and belonging.
Yeah. We were kind of similar, so
we were similar, but you thought different than me. Your mind was different than me. Your mind was more advanced than my mind was.
I think that's because I moved countries, man.
Yeah, so you had that experience of adapting. I was still just in my comfortable zone of I haven't been tested mentally yet.
Yeah. So through when we met, I've already been sailing and competing for all this year. So I've had that mentality of like, I need to be the best.
Right.
I need to win. I need to beat myself and be better than that person. So I already had that in
toughness. I remember my mom called you Nails.
Yeah. I play really rough.
Yeah. Man, he's definitely shouldn't have been playing soccer.
Yeah.
Good thing he picked up rugby later.
I then picked up rugby. Yeah. So at Oak Bay, I play soccer. We did really well. I also joined the tennis team.
You did
And
very
then-
well.
Very well too. And then I also play rugby, and I love rugby. I became so big. Like the rugby coach, he loved me, and he's like, Manuel, you're too skinny. You need to work out. When I was in 10th grade, so I gave her in 11th and 12th grade, and I became huge. I was pretty big,
Yeah, you're
but
decent
not
size.
that big, but like bigger than usual.
Yeah.
And
You were eating meat too.
Yeah, and this is a funny thing. Like my stepfather, he engraved in my mind that
Desmond.
Desmond, beautiful soul. He said,
Shout out to Desmond,
join
wherever you are.
Yeah, wherever you are. He said, join in the military. That's probably the best thing that you could do. And I was like, I don't know. It's just engraved in my head. And then we played a rugby game against the Royal Military College, and we did really good. And the coach from the Royal Military College, he liked how I play. He's like, if you're interested in coming to Royal Military College, we can give you a spot and stuff like that. So I was like, ooh, this is nice, right? So that was probably one of the things that motivated to get me into the military.
It was rugby.
It was rugby, yeah. But
Crazy.
anyways, I play. What happened is that I sailed a lot when I was in 2011,
Right.
11th grade. I tried to do I missed a month of school.
Yeah, I
'cause
remember.
was trying sailing.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out, so I came back and I was kind of deflated. I was like, what now? You know?
Yeah.
And then-
What's next?
I started like focusing like, okay, if this is not working out, going to the Olympics, might as well just give her hard on school. In grade 11 and 12, I gave her hard, but because I missed a whole month of school, I didn't even took classes that I needed to to join the Royal Military College, right? So then when I applied to Royal Military College, they didn't accept me. They were like, no, you don't have Chem 12. And I was like, well, fuck.
What was this, after grade 10 or after grade 11?
That was in grade 12, yeah.
You
I'm
applied.
fast-forwarding it, yeah.
Oh, so you applied for post-secondary.
Yeah, post-secondary, because my mom and my father was like, yeah, after you need to go to the Royal Military College. This is perfect for you. You're a tough person. You can
Yeah.
take it, whatever. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So I applied, and it didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Which was for the best, to be honest, because it wasn't within my soul to do that.
Right.
I wanted to be in the ocean.
People
That's
were
what I
trying
wanted
to
to do.
tell you. They were trying to take their string,
Yeah.
put it on your.
My mom
forehead.
really connected her string into my forehead in my career choice. to
And
be
that's
honest.
easy to do because she's your mom.
It's because it's my mom, yeah.
Right.
So what happened is that I applied, didn't get accepted, went to summer school, and then when I did summer school, I was like, well, might as well go to UVic and take some random engineering courses. And so I took random engineering courses at UVic for the first semester, and then
And then,
I joined the UVic sailing team.
boom.
And that completely changed because I was sailing and I didn't want to go play rugby.
Right. You wanted to sail.
I wanted to sail.
Duh.
So when I started sailing with the UVic sailing club at UVic, I was like fucking in love.
And this is after having shoulder surgery, forgot
Yeah.
to mention, from a rugby injury.
Yeah, I had a rugby
So it's
injury,
just even
a dislocated
more-
my shoulder.
Reassuring for you to go, okay,
Yeah,
I'm just going to stick and pursue this avenue instead
yeah,
of this one because it's probably better for my longevity.
exactly. So then I joined the team and I loved being in the ocean. I won a lot of competitions. Had a good partner. And
Who was your partner?
Heather Lee.
Shout out to Heather Lee.
Shout out to Heather Lee. She doesn't like me.
She doesn't like you.
Well, it's because Hope became my partner later on. And then I
Does she
started...
want to become a different kind of partner?
No,
That was-
just sailing partner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what happened is that I started sailing a lot. I loved it. And I was like, when it came time to apply for RMC, I was like, fuck that. I'm staying here. I love sailing.
This is who I am.
This is who I am. Leave me alone. So I told my parents that I wanted to stay in UVic. And I took engineering at UVic. I took electrical engineering at first. I was like, oh, let's do it. Let's try it out. Fucking sucked. I didn't like it. So I was like, okay, let's switch to mechanical
Why
engineering.
didn't you like it?
I don't know. It was just, I didn't feel it. I was good. I was so good at electrical engineering. I was fucking good at electrical engineering, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the concept. I just didn't like it. So then I was like, okay, let's take mechanical engineering, right? And it was at this point when I switched to mechanical engineering that I started thinking about my children. I was like, okay, I can be a mechanical engineer and learn how things work and then teach them to my children because my father never did taught me anything, right?
Right.
And so what happened is I took mechanical engineering and all of a sudden hope came along.
Ooh.
Yeah. And at the same time I was in the Navy, in the Royal Military Reserves. Royal Canadian Navy Reserves, and I went to basic training. I did my engineering courses. So I took engineering with the Navy and engineering at UVic at the same time.
Gonna touch on something real quick.
What?
I think that you should mention. You did really well at basic training, didn't you?
I did really well, yeah.
Which,
I was the top.
You were the top
physical student.
You were the top recruit, weren't you?
Yeah, and then they were recruiting for JTF2, which is the special forces.
The equivalent to the Navy SEALs.
Yeah, and they're like, "You want to do it?" I was like, "Nope, this is not my passion."
Yeah, even though you probably would have been one of the top guys if you were going to do it.
I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, your mind, Manny. I would put money on you, dude. Your mind is crazy.
So then,
Nails.
yeah. So then, hope came along, and then the love sparked again. The forbidden love that I left.
So how does she come back? How did she get into this picture?
Well, my mom.
She's in Mexico.
Yeah, she's in Mexico. She was about to graduate. My mom. She worked with the university, so she went and promoted the university in Canada, and she went to the school that Hope was, and Hope's parents fucking loved the idea of Canada, because Flavio can't go to the U.S. and that's another story, and Hope wanted to go to the U.S. but Flavio can't do it, so he wanted
Hope's dad.
Yeah, Hope's dad. His name is Flavio Torres. Beautiful person. We'll interview.
Beautiful.
Him.
We will.
Awesome.
We need to have him on here.
Yeah.
His story is pretty cool.
Yeah. So then what happened is that he loved the idea of moving to Canada because he wanted to stay with the family. So,
Right, and he can be able to go to Hope's commencement ceremony.
Exactly. So
And be a part of that big
Hope,
achievement of her life.
And Hope kind of knew. I feel like Hope knew that we were gonna end up together because I don't know why she decided to come.
And
she
had a boyfriend at the time.
She had a boyfriend
didn't she?
at the time.
She
like,
was
I don't
scheming.
care. I'm going to Canada, where Manuel lives. My forbidden love. My first love. So then, my mom recruited her, and then they lived. My mom, she roommate with my sister. So then, let's just say that I went to my mom's house a lot.
I bet.
And we rekindled the love, and it was beautiful. And then,
Did you guys start dating right away, basically?
well, I started hardcore flirting with her.
Yeah, I bet.
And then eventually we hooked up, and that was after she broke up with her boyfriend.
I hope so.
Yeah. And then I took her sailing, and I put Hope through trials. I was like, okay, Hope wants to be my girlfriend.
Of course
She needs to.
He did
do a
this with
couple of
me
things.
too. It's like, Brody, if you're going to be my friend, you got to go through trials.
So yeah, I put her through trials. She passed all the trials. She passed
So did
everything
I.
with flying colors. She went sailing with me. She loved it. I saw how she moved in the boat, how she flowed in the boat. I was like, okay, she's pretty good.
So you proposed on the boat.
I didn't propose on the boat, but we started sailing together, and that's where Heather stopped sailing with me. So that's why Heather doesn't like me, I think.
Shout out to Heather.
Shout out to Heather. But yeah, that's what happened. Hope came. She started sailing. We fell in love. And I asked her to be my girlfriend in a sailing competition. We were in first place by like miles. And I was like, Hope.
You guys compete
kinda
against
slowed
American
down.
schools too, right?
Hmm?
You guys compete against American schools
Yeah, we
too, right?
competed in the whole Western region.
That's cool.
And it was in Seattle, I think. And I slowed down the boat, and Hope was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I want to talk to you. She was like, come on, we gotta finish the race. I was like, do you want to be our girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, yeah. So that's what happened.
On the boat.
On the boat, yeah.
In the middle of the race.
In the middle of the race.
And you won the race.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We won every single race. We won first every single race of the competition. we were in so much sync, Hope and I,
Yep.
that our boat was just flowing so beautiful. It was
Nice.
just like, we were tacking beautiful. We were like starting. We had good communication. It was awesome.
Cool.
And so I started dating Hope, and as soon as I started dating Hope, my mentality changed, because being in the sailing team, it was all about drinking and partying and sailing, having fun, following your passion, being in the water. As soon as I started dating Hope the second time, it changed my mentality. I lived with all my sailing friends in a sailing house. We were 6 of us. And on top of me, there was this guy that was about to graduate. His name is Ted Alley. Crazy engineer.
Shout out Ted.
Shout out to Ted. He works with Tesla now.
Really?
In Montreal, yeah.
Really cool.
And all I could hear at night was he typing on his fucking computer. I was like, what the fuck? Because he was the lead of the UVic hybrid team of the cars. So he was the lead of the club that built cars. So then after I started dating Hope and I heard how much effort he was putting into school, I was like, well, I want to
be like Ted.
I want to be like that. I want to put a lot of effort into this, right? I want to learn. That's what my mentality changed from drinking and socializing and sailing from. I want to gain more knowledge so my children can be proud of me.
And live the best lifestyle, best life that is possible out there.
So I fucking gave her at school.
Yeah, you did.
I gave her. And in the last year of university, I started the UVic Submarine Racing Club, which I'll link in this episode. So I started the UVic Submarine Racing Club, which was a huge effort from my part. It took a lot of my time, but I felt like it was necessary for me to do it because, like I said before, I knew there's gotta be something more. There's gotta be something more than just doing an engineering degree. There's gotta be something more than going to class every single day and trying to learn and doing tests. So I started the UVic Submarine Racing Club, which we designed and we built a human-powered submarine. It's pretty cool subject, to be honest.
We will throw out videos of Manny's final product on our resource page because it's really cool and people should check it out. A lot of hard work. I believe it was 7,700 hours put in.
It was a lot of hours that we put in.
Over 6 months?
7 months, yeah.
7 months?
So the project was 7-8 months, and we designed and built the submarine from scratch. We raised money. We raised $30,000, and we gather engineers, the best engineers of the university.
With the goal of what?
With the goal of going to England and racing against the top universities around the world. And we did it.
That's awesome.
We qualified, and we raced against the top universities around the world that designed their own submarine. And we got 4th place, which was incredible.
Overall 4th place, and
overall 4th place in the world.
If I'm not wrong, you did win individual awards.
Yeah, we won individual awards. We won the reliability award, which was incredible. Means that we designed a submarine that is the most reliable in the water, meaning that we completed the most amount of races, we hit the least amount of faults, and our dive team was the best, meaning that our start time to set up was faster than everybody else. So we had a really strong team.
Do you think the reason for having a strong dive team is because of the environment that we come from, surrounded by water?
Well, I feel like I set the environment for the team with regards to, every night, every day we talked about what happened, what we want to do in the future, what our plans are. Every morning I woke up everyone.
We reflected.
At 5:30
Adventure call number 1, guys.
It was worse than that. At 5:30 in the morning, I blasted motivational videos, and then I know that they were laughing and they were annoyed, but I knew that
they were inspired.
Little snippets of this motivational videos and motivational music were going to get engraved in their head throughout the day. I knew it.
It was reaching them.
Yeah, it was reaching them somehow. And
you knew this because you saw it through their effort.
I saw it through their effort. As soon as I put the videos in, they put more heart into it, and it was amazing to see.
They were able to in tune with their why more.
It was the greatest experience ever Like when I saw the submarine on the water crossing the finish line, and our pilot piloting the submarine, it was like I cried. I screamed underwater. I was like, yeah! And we cried. I literally cried in my mask seeing the submarine crossing the finish line and all the effort, the hours that was put into it. And I knew that that was the feeling of something more.
I've accomplished something and then thinking, okay, what's next?
Yeah, exactly. What's next? What's next? School is one thing, but doing a club and going racing and applying your knowledge that you learn in school is something completely different. And I feel that I did that for my children. So in the future, maybe they can join the club.
Yeah.
I did that for my children because I knew that one of my main goals was to get a job in Victoria. And I did because of that. I joined C-SPAN. I worked with C-SPAN with big submarines.
Nice.
One of the 4 Canadian
High five.
submarines. Yeah.
Well deserved, Manny.
But yeah, that's my story with the club. And at the same time, I was connecting very spiritually and mind, body, and soul with my wife because we were going through a hard time of me spending a lot of time into this. And we decided to get married. And in the middle of the school year, we just went to Tofino and we got married.
March 17th,
March 17th, coming
2018.
2018. I got married to my beautiful wife. And that is the best feeling that I've ever had in the world. Seeing
You cried like a little baby.
I cried so
too.
much, man.
I cried too.
Seeing my wife walk down the beach with her wedding dress and then getting married, I cried like a baby. I was so happy. I was feeling like I belonged where I was. The people that were there, the environment, it was
Everything
perfect.
was on point. And
It was simple and
Thanks
it was
for
perfect.
inviting me and
Yeah.
having me there
worries.
at that point
Yeah,
in your
Brody,
life.
Brody was there.
I was Manuel's best man
Yes,
at
he
his
was.
wedding.
He was
And it was quite the
And
privilege
obviously,
because it's just the biggest compliment, especially for coming from someone who has achieved so much and has this mindset, and who I think I have the similar mindset, but then to be reconfirmed that he believes that too in me by inviting him and saying, you are my right hand guy, my go-to dude. It feels pretty good.
Nice.
Thanks,
Glad
man.
to hear that, Brody.
Yeah.
I love you, man.
Love you too, bud.
There we go.
Number 8.
Number 8. So that's a feeling. It's a completely a feeling that I will hold for the rest of my life. Getting married to my wife, it was beautiful, and a feeling of seeing the submarine going through the water. It's a feeling that I will hold for the rest of my life, and those feelings I hope will keep coming. Starting
will.
this podcast is another feeling that I feel very good about.
It's the mindset
It's
and
the
having
mindset.
that
Those
determination and having that belief in your why that will get to you that point of feeling the way that you're feeling when you saw your submarine cross the line, or when you married the love of your life, hope.
Yeah. And when I listen to this podcast, it brings me joy. I swear it gives me that feeling
Yeah.
of accomplishment.
And it's awesome because it's just going to keep happening.
Gonna keep happening.
And I hope more people continue to come and listen to us talk to each other. And we're really excited because next week,
Yeah. So next week
we're bringing in our first guest, eh?
Yeah. So next week our first guest is coming. It's gonna be Zero Waste Emporium, and the owners of Zero Waste Emporium. I've talked to them a lot of times. They're fucking awesome. I went to the store and I was feeling tempeh in my jar, and it was a jar that had 2 types of tempeh, and the guy was like, let me go measure this individually. And I was like, no, I have another bag here. And he's like, I can do anything. He literally looked at me and said, no, it's okay, I can do anything.
You're like,
And
okay.
I saw his face
And you believe
the passion that he had,
and you related.
and I related because
he took his string from his soul, slapped it onto
on
your
my forehead, and I was
and
like,
then you're like,
me too, I think I can do anything. He's like, I can do anything. So it's gonna be a really good conversation.
That's awesome.
With them, because I feel like they know that they can do anything, and they are trying to change this world, make better in this world, and it's a good subject. And
Their message is awesome, and their why is awesome.
Their why is incredible.
Really awesome.
And we have Kimia coming in the second guest episode.
Yeah, our good friend Kimia Hamidi from
high school.
From high school, I'm pretty sure. Hopefully, I didn't butcher your name, Kimia, but he's coming in to talk to us. Kimia, I've known Kimia since I think I was 12. We played baseball together at Beacon Hill Little League, and then I think he went to some other school, and then he ended up at Oak Bay High School, and we went to high school together.
Really?
And with you, duh. And he started his company Ghost It.
Yeah.
And he's done very well with that. We're really excited to talk to him and all his triumphs and failures throughout a startup business.
Yeah.
And what to do and what not to do. Yeah.
If anyone is interested out there on starting a business, this is the episode that you would want to hear.
We're really excited for that one.
And then our third guest speaker we already have confirmed is Krista Wark, and she has her own podcast, which is linked in our resources tab, the Global Health Podcast, and she wants to better the world by getting involved with global health. And global health is disaster relief and going to help countries and people that do not have the resources, and she knows everything about it.
And her occupation is she's a physiotherapist, correct?
She's a physiotherapist, yeah, and she knows, and she uses her knowledge in order to put it to good in global health.
That's awesome.
For anyone out there who is interested in global health and going to help in other countries, and she knows what you need, what the skills that you need, and she can help you guide and connect to the people that can take you there in order to provide that help for other people around the world.
Beauty.
And these guests are just gonna keep coming.
Keep flowing in,
and it's gonna be awesome. And now we're progressing. We got the second episode almost done here.
I think we did pretty well, Manny.
I think pretty well, yeah.
We're comfortable on the mic.
Yeah, I think we're
pretty relatively more sure on what we're saying, less kind of right?
I said fuck. I feel like the way I say fuck and I swear a lot is because when I feel like I don't have anything else
like
to
you
say,
really need to any
like,
kind of meaning or meat behind it.
Yeah, I'm like,
or if you're vegan, veggie meat behind it.
Yeah.
Just you need to use the F-bomb.
I need to do it.
And going forward, it's a debate. Should we strive for getting that explicit label off our podcast?
It's raw content.
It's raw content, baby.
Let's just leave it.
Yeah.
But
in other words, fuck no.
I hope you enjoy that raw content that we're putting out there
and listening to us.
And listening. We're gonna keep doing it because it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's learning is a good feeling.
And this is another reasoning for why we started this podcast is because Manny approached me. He's like, Brody, I want to do a 2019 project with you, like a friendship project. And I was like, okay. And then he followed it up with, let's do a podcast. And then it just built from there. And he approached me with the idea, and
now we're here.
Here we are finishing our second episode. We acted upon it. The power of now.
We give the initial push, and I feel like right now we're rolling down the hill.
We're rolling down the hill. We're not flatlining. We're just coasting, baby.
We're just coasting. It's so easy now. Like I found throughout this week, after our first episode, there was so much work that needed to be done for the first episode, and then this week I was like, I had so much energy to do work, but there was nothing to do.
Because it's all templated, all ready to go. We just need to show up and speak.
Exactly. It's awesome.
And it's he approached me as like a 2019 project, but this is I have a feeling it's going to go a little longer than 2019, but we shall see.
If you out there want to learn about anything in specific, please give us a shout. Where, Brody?
You can find us at adventuringforknowledge.com. There's our bio, our ethos, and what we're all about. And our contact info is at the bottom of the page.
You got it, buddy.
Before we leave, we'd like to talk to you about something that we do weekly that I highly encourage other people to do and get in the routine of doing, because it's really awesome, because it's exercise and it connects us with our friends. And what it is we have our designated adventure day. Sunday fun day, baby. And so we plan as a group in our group friend message where we discuss, okay, where do we want to go this weekend? And we come up with an idea, and then we all agree or disagree and implement and discuss our ideas, and then we go forward and choose somewhere where we go and go adventure.
Yeah, we try to do adventures that connect us to our souls
and the earth.
And the earth by completely isolating ourselves in nature. We like doing that.
No phones.
No phones, no nothing.
No social media.
Yeah.
Well, we have our phones, but we take pictures.
Take pictures, yeah. Lots of pictures.
Lots of pictures.
Hope loves taking pictures.
Gabby loves taking pictures too. Manny and I love being in pictures.
I love, whenever I go to nature, I don't know why, I just want to do exercise.
Yeah.
I just want to run.
Manny and I are just like dogs when we go to the park. We're like,
let's go.
Let's sprint.
Let's sprint.
And we don't just run, we sprint. We're like, okay, we're going to push our bodies. We're going to get a workout. Like last weekend, we went to Mount Doug, and it was like 6:45 in the morning. No, it wasn't that early. It was like 7:30.
Yeah, 7:30.
It was like 7:30, sunrise. And Manny, we're having a conversation, everybody, and then, but Manny's driving, and Manny's going like this.
Is that really cool like that?
And when he does that, I know this is going to be a workout, because Manny's preparing his mind, his body, and his soul.
You have to prepare it.
And as soon as we get out of the car, Manny turns to Hope and says, Hope, I'm going to make this a workout.
But you knew already.
I knew already, because Manny's in there preparing. But anyways, we highly encourage it because it makes us feel real good.
Have a designated day for adventure.
Yeah, it's awesome. Sundays is the best day. You're not doing anything on a Sunday besides sleeping. Get your lazy butt up and go for a hike.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Here we go. Yeah, we are.
See you later.
See you later. Off on our hike.
Off on our hike. And please remember to be active in your community. Brody, come on. Keep going.
Remember to smile.
Remember to be kind and respect yourself, others, animals, and a beautiful planet.
And please, never stop adventuring for knowledge.
Until next time.
Peace.